Yo everyone, what's up? Kinda like Christmas, the Smash World Tour Finals are just around the corner. In today's video, let's talk about who qualified for the Smash World Tour Finals, who will attend the event, and I will also try to give you guys some more background infos about the event and the players. So first off, for everyone that doesn't follow Smash tournaments too much, let's talk briefly about what Smash World Tour is. Smash World Tour, short SWT, is a tournament cup initiated and organized by the teams behind VG Bootcamp and Super Smash Con. The cup had a rough start. It was announced in early 2020, but due to the COVID-19 pandemic, it had to be cancelled just shortly after its announcement. Later in February of 2021, the Smash World Tour was announced again. This time, however, with online and regional offline qualifiers and an offline finale. In my opinion, they still managed to pull off a great cup. The first Smash World Tour was won by MKLeo, who had to fight Cosmos in Grand Finals, and it had a crazy prize pool of $75,000. Now, in 2022, Smash World Tour is already in its second year. This year, players could collect points at Smash offline events all across the globe, which was originally their plan to qualify back in 2020. Since they tried to make it so that every region had some events to collect points, some top players from other countries even traveled to other events to collect those easy points. For example, Leo and Jack traveled to Cuba, Jack also traveled to Qatar, and Capt traveled to Puerto Rico. The later one, Capt, was actually really unlucky with how Apex 2022 turned out. Despite traveling to events to collect points, he pretty much lost his Smash World Tour spot last second to Jekyll, who barely traveled outside of the US, if at all. Now, this might be sad for some, but I think it's only fair this way. Of course, it's sad for Capt, and I would have loved to see this talented villager play at Smash World Tour, but rules are rules, and sometimes it's gonna be this way. I hope he gets another chance next year, or maybe he can fill in for someone. Anyways, Smash World Tour seems even more stacked this year than last year, with a lot more Japanese representation and less representation from other parts of the world. I'm not trying to be rude here, but I think Japan is one of the strongest regions, and it makes sense that they have a lot of players at Smash World Tour. At the same time though, I think it's cool that the strongest players from every region of the world are at this event. Else it would only be like an US-Japan invitational, which would fail the purpose of a Smash World Tour. So I think the way it is now is really cool. Last thing I want to mention before we have a look at the qualified players is that there are some notable top players that are missing. In my opinion, these are Tweak, who doesn't have enough points, Spargo, who probably didn't enter enough tournaments, and Cosmos. But there's still some hope left for all the players that haven't qualified yet. 2 last chance qualifier spots are up for grabs for the 2 highest placing players at the Smash World Tour 2022 Ultimate Last Chance Qualifier, held on December 9th in San Antonio, Texas. So there's still a glimpse chance for us to see these players at Smash World Tour. Alright, enough with the intro, let's finally start to talk about who is coming to the event. To no one's surprise, MKLeo qualified for Smash World Tour with the most points of any player, as he is, of course, the best player in the world and the title holder of last year's Smash World Tour. He's also the prime candidate to win the event. Let's just hope his ear conditions don't take a toll on him. Actually, we don't really have an update on the matter at the moment, but I hope he will be fine. Next, we have Sonics. Sonics is a Sonic player from the Dominican Republic that a lot of viewers will probably at least know from Wi-Fi tournaments like Coinbox. He is the second highest placing player on the list and regarded as the best or one of the best Sonics in the world. Akola is a Steve main that is in debate to be the best player from Japan. As earlier mentioned, Japan is a really strong region and therefore it's hard to be as consistent on these tourneys as Akola. People often say that a lot of players in Japan could be big threats if they attended in the US because the skill level in general is just so high in Japan. If Akola and Leo meet at Smash World Tour, it's going to be interesting to see how he does. Last time they played, Leo 6-0'd him, and it didn't look like Leo's gonna lose to Akola anytime soon. So I'm interested to see if Akola adapted. Onan, similar to Akola, has made huge waves ever since he is playing Steve. He won big tourneys like Get On My Level 2022 in Canada and Super Smash Con, even beating Leo on his way. I really want to see a rematch of Leo vs Onan, because when Leo played Akola he looked so good at the matchup, but Onan did him dirty at Super Smash Con, so that's one set I'm looking forward to. Our first and highest ranking European player on the list is Gluttony. Since Smash 4 I'm a big fan of Gluto and I'm happy to watch the Wario main at the Smash World Tour Finals. Next up we have Light, a Fox main. He's known for his quick reactions and aggressive playstyle. Light has wins over MK Leo, Spargo, Riddles, Cola and Debuzz. I feel like Light is always a wild card. If he's on fire, he can beat pretty much anyone. Shuton is a Olimar Aegis co-main from Japan. He started out as an Olimar main, but since the release of Aegis, she became part of his roster. And I think it's a good pick for him, because Olimar can struggle versus some Swordies, and I feel like the Aegis do help him in these matchups. Riddles is a Kazuya Terry main that qualified with 2195 points. A lot of them come from Get On My Level, Ultimate Wanted 4 and Pound. Despite me being no fan of Kazuya, I'm still interested to see how he does in this environment. At the end of the day, he's the best Kazuya out there and I wanna know how far he can push the character at such an event. Especially since some people think that Kazuya could be more of a problem than Steve in the late meta of the game. Debuzz is, as I would put it, a Rosa Olimar Min main. I'd say his best character is still his Rosa though. He seems to be one of the most consistent players in the world and he rarely ever gets beaten by someone who isn't a top player. Meister, the Game & Watch main. I feel like lately he has fallen off a little bit and I think that's because he kinda struggles versus matchups that are getting more prominent, like Steve and Sephiroth for example. Also, whenever I see a tourney with Meister and Leo in it, I can only see Meister winning if someone else beats Leo twice. Mia, like Meister, is a Game & Watch main. Personally, I only heard about him for the first time a few months ago, when I heard about him winning Kagaribi 8 versus players like Proto, Abadango and Shuton. I don't really know too much about him yet, but I'm definitely interested in seeing him compete. First of all, I don't think it's 100% sure that he attends, but I really hope he travels for Smash World Tour. Next thing to notice, Proto Banham is like the only player having a positive record on Leo. They are actually 3-2 in sets at the moment. I love how Proto always freezes his opponents and waits so long and thinks about what character and stage he should pick. But he's definitely really clever about it. Also, he's probably the best Min in the world and that is like Leo's worst matchup. So I hope they will rematch at the Smash World Tour Finals. Despite Palutena being such a strong character throughout the game's lifespan, there isn't too much Palutena representation I feel. Of course, there's Louis Mani and also Reflow in Europe, but Czech is definitely the highest one up there in terms of results at the moment. Next we have Siski from Spain. Siski has really made a name for himself ever since the pandemic. Pre-pandemic he was definitely among the best players in Spain, but was only in contention for being their best player. Now however the tides have turned and he's Spain's best player as well as the best Samus in the world. Before that, Quick always had this title, and as a European myself, I'm of course a bit biased and hyped for Siski being at the Smash World Tour Finals. T, the King of Europe. Of course, for anyone who doesn't know, T is a Japanese Pac-Man main with a strong Kazuya secondary, I would call it, for now. I feel like T is always a fun contender to watch and of course he just seems to be so sick at this game. Also, it's astounding how much he traveled for the game this past year. I think he was probably the Japanese player that traveled the most. I remember seeing him at quite a few European tourneys like Temple, l'Odyssey, Wanted and UFA of course. US tourneys like Summit, Double Down and Ludwig's Invitational, and he even was in Canada for Battle of BC 4. He definitely deserves his spot at the Smash World Tour Finals. Jay Dizzle is Australia's highest ranking player in the Smash World Tour standings. He has earned quite a few points from Australian majors like Phantom and Battle Arena Melbourne 12. I think it's cool to see an Australian represent at the Smash World Tour Finals. So far, from what I know, Jay Dizzle is always underperforming when traveling out of country though, and I hope he can overcome this problem soon. Zomba has also quickly climbed the ladder of Smash rankings. Personally, the first time I heard of him was way back when he beat Tweaks Wolf at a local. He has come far and is now considered the best raw player in the world. We have 3 Japanese players ahead now. First one is Ken. Ken was a Sonic main in Smash 4 and transitioned over to Ultimate. Now he plays Sephiroth alongside his old main. For me, Asimo is quite new on the map, just like Akola and Mia. Next to Riddles, he's now one of the main representatives for Shoto players, but from what I know, he mostly sticks to the Rio. Yoshidora is, as you probably guessed, a Yoshi main from Japan. He has wins over players like Akola, Asimo and Protobanner. To my knowledge, Yoshidora is a family man and has never or rarely traveled. I know that he was invited to Ludwig's Invitational, but didn't go because of family reasons. However, he wanted to come to Smash World Tour instead. I don't think it's 100% sure that he comes yet, but I feel like he will. And as HBox already tweeted, there's a good chance for the first time ever in Smash history that a Japanese Yoshi main wins both events, Melee and Ultimate. And these Yoshi mains are Yoshidora and Amza. In general, I'm really interested to see Yoshidora play versus players from outside of Japan. I feel like not long ago, Bloom was just this UK Wi-Fi Bayo player that people knew from online tourneys that weren't region locked. I remember to see Bloom play at a lot of those. Now, however, he's widely known as one of, if not the best Bayo in the world. A lot of Bloom's points come from winning Vienna Challengers Arena over Gluttony and placing high at Double Down and Colossal. Gact is a Japanese NES main and considered the best NES in the world. He's always placing quite high, but naturally struggles a bit against Saudis, I feel. I also think that he struggles against Steve, but besides Onin and Akola, there aren't any more Steves at the Smash World Tour Finals. Cola is a Roy main with a strong Cloud secondary. Kinda like Light, he's a very aggressive and also emotional player. I'm personally hyped for his run because the matches he plays are always explosive. However, he can be a bit inconsistent due to that. Kameme has played many characters in Ultimate. I think one of his most notable sets/wins is still his Evo win versus Leo with the Mega Man. But despite that, he has become more of a Sora main and Sheik secondary these days. He's considered the best Sora in the world, and apart from him, there isn't really anyone doing as good as him with the character, though quite a few top players tried. Lima is a Bayo player from the US. He's mostly known for being one of the best Bayos in Smash 4 and also the 2018 EVO champion, famous of course for the Bayo Ditto stare down in Grands. Nietono is a Pichu main from Japan. I remember he was a Sheik main like Void in Smash 4 and then also picked up Pichu in Ultimate. Despite all the nerfs Pichu got hit with, he stuck with the character. By the way, his biggest chunk of points for Smash World Tour are from him traveling to Australia and winning Phantom 2022 over DD in Grands. Ferbs is a Kazuya main from Brazil and the highest placing player from South America. A lot of his points come from winning Treta 2022 in Brazil and placing third at Ultra Hard Tournament. He's known for his Kazuya labbing content on social media and is also the creator of the infamous Ferbs tag. With Thrix we have our second representative from Australia. He's considered the best Sephiroth in his country, and kinda like with J Dizzle, a lot of his Smash World Tour points come from Phantom and Battle Arena Melbourne 12. Personally, I haven't seen too much of him yet, so he's kinda a wild card for me. With just 10 points over capped, Jekyll barely made the cut for the Smash World Tour Finals. His strong performance at Apex 2022 clutched it out. Jekyll seems to get better and better every time I watch him at a major. I personally hope he travels some more in the future though. Last on the list is Emas. At first I wasn't sure how Emas qualified due to him being on place 70 point wise, but there was an indicator of him being qualified as the regional point leader. Now I was asking myself which region he would represent, and it seems like he's representing the so-called wildcard region. The biggest chunk of his points come from him placing second at Virtual City Smash Open 2022, a tournament held in Doha, Qatar. Personally, I haven't seen him play since Colossal, where he got 17th, and it seems to be controversial if he actually attends the finals. I like to watch his Joker, but I would also be cool with him giving up his spot for Capt or Sekai Dogo, two players who didn't quite make the cut. And there's quite some drama about that as well from what I read, but that's a whole nother story and probably enough for another video. Anyways, that's all the players that are currently qualified for the Smash World Tour Finals. There might be some DQs that allow other players to fill in. And as already mentioned, 2 more spots due to the last chance qualifier. Maybe when the bracket and players are final, I will try to make another video on who are my favorites to win the whole thing. By the way, who do you guys like to see at the finals, and maybe who's your favorite to win it? As always, I hope you liked the video. See you in the next one. Peace.